Hey, what's going on guys, Nishant here with CG Force and welcome to another Blender video. So today's topic is, what is NLA Editor? Well, consider NLA Editor as a video editor. In video editing, you can edit videos on layers in timeline, but in NLA, you can create animation clips, you can edit them, add transitions to them, and repeat them, and you can do much more after that. You can also organize them in order to create animation videos as movies, or even store animations without using them. Clear? Well, you might ask, hey, how to do it? Well, for that, let's go to Blender. Meet Max, character I created in Blender. To understand the NLA editor, let's open up three different editors. The first one is going to be the NLA editor, the second one is going to be the dope sheet, and the third one is also going to be the dope sheet. But change the second one into the action editor. And now we can create this small animation with the help of NLA Editor. So let's create a walk animation first. As it starts to create animation keyframes on character, you can see the keyframes are being created simultaneously in all the editors. Now if you see NLA Editor's action strip, it has a push down button, right? Which is also available in the action editor. They both are same. Now if you click it, it will create a NLA track, which is holding our walk animation clip. You can check it by moving the timeline cursor. You can select that animation clip and move it around easily. And you can drop it right where you exactly want it. Now let's create the hand wave animation. You can see we have created new keyframes on timeline simultaneously on all the editors, right? But these are separate from walk animation keyframes, just like another video clip in a video editor. And now if you click on push down button, it will create a new NLA track with newly created animation clip. And now if you place it behind the walk animation clip on timeline, you can easily create an animation. You can also rename your NLA tracks, which is a good habit to keep your animations organized. Now the animations I just created, they are known as actions. If I go to Action Editor and select one of the animation from the list, then it will be selected as an active animation clip, which has been loaded to NLA armature strip with the name of action, which is action point 001. Now if I select the bone and create a new animation and add another keyframe to the timeline, then my animation gets a newly added keyframe. And if I close this animation action in Action Editor, then the NLA action strip gets empty, right? Now let's complete our whole animation by creating next two actions. So let's create stretching action. Let's add a new action in Action Editor and then create keyframes for the bone. Now again press the push down button and create a new NLA track with the action. Now if we set the action on timeline and play, animation looks good, but our character doesn't move at all. So we need to add a small movement. Again press the push down button, but this time action gets on previously created track because there was an empty space on the track. So I need to create a new NLA track. So go to add and add new NLA track. Now drag that action to a newly created NLA track. Change the name and play the animation and see how it looks. Well, it looks great, but there is a slight problem. If you see, in the end of stretching action ends with the character stretching over one side, right? But I want to end it in a neutral position, just like in the start. So let's edit this action. Just select the stretching action and press tab on your keyboard to enter in edit mode. Now action gets sulky green, right? You can see the keyframes right above the action clip on NLA action strip, right? And if you click on the pin on action strip, it will relocate keyframes to their original position where they were originally created. So click back on the pin to reset them again. Now let's add the new keyframe and set the stretching to neutral. And there we go. Now let's create one more action in which character will look on both sides. Now when I start to play the cursor, our character walks and move forward, but also look on both sides, which looks good. So let's change it into an action with push down button. But this time, let's use the stash button rather than the push down. Now as I press the stash button, it created another NLA track right in the bottom of other NLA tracks. As you can see, the track is inactive and locked, right? Action tracks are always going to be above than the stash tracks in NLA Editor. Even you just can't even use them in animation just like that. But if you move the stash action into one of the action tracks, it will work. So you can simply create another empty NLA track and duplicate the stash action into that by simply pressing Shift T and simply drag it on the new NLA track. Now it is also a part of the animation. But why exactly create the stash? What exactly its purpose? Well, you can see this action in Action Editor list, right? Now if you select one, you will see number 2 in front of it, which means this action is being used 2 times in a project. But if you select both of these actions in NLA Editor and delete them and close the action, and now if you check the list again, you can see there is 0 written in front of them, which means these actions are not being used or connected to anything in project right now. But if I create a new NLA track and assign one animation to that, you can see one animation is assigned to that new track, but other one is not, right? And now if I restart the Blender and open up the list again, you can see the other action is now gone forever. These items in list are actually known as the data blocks. If you want to understand what are these data blocks and how they work, I already have created a dedicated tutorial on this, so feel free to check the link in corner or I'll leave the link in description box. So the actions which are not being used in the project can be saved as a stash without actually deleting them, so that in case if you need them in future, then you can simply activate them and use them. Now let's talk about the sidebar. Suppose I want to repeat this stretching animation more than once. Then open up the sidebar, go to Strip Properties and select the action and go to Repeat. Now change it to any desirable number you want. Now the action is being repeated, right? That white bar is splitting the action into repetitions. Number of white lines is actually one less to the actual number of repetitions. So be mindful of that. We also have frame start and end for the clip we have selected in the NLA Editor. There is also an extrapolation, which means how NLA should calculate the actions. Hold means calculate everything on the right and left of the action clip you have selected in NLA Editor. Nothing means calculate only the action you have selected. Now hold forward means calculate everything right after the action clip you have selected. Means everything on the right side to the action clip. Now let's talk about blending. If I select move forward action and change blending to subtract, you can see the action plays in the opposite direction to what I have created originally. Similarly, different blend types have different results. Depends on what kind of algorithm they have underneath the code. You can check their result values on Blender forms. They already have given all the evaluations as results there. So check one by one, see what blending type gives you what kind of results. It needs a little bit experimentation, so feel free to do it on your own. You can also change the playback speed. Lower value will play action faster, but higher values play it slow. Kind of opposite, but that's how it exactly works. Then we have blend in and blend out. Same as fade in and out in video editing. But instead of fade, it simply blends the action into each other. If I select my move forward action and change its blend in and out, you can see the inclined white lines, right? It shows that how much amount is exactly affecting on both sides of the action clip. And if I play the animation, you can see the character location is being impacted by blending it with lower NLA track action, which is the walk animation. Because its keyframes were created on 000 on the origin point in 3D viewport, and that is why it is dragging our character to the origin point in 3D viewport. You can also reverse your actions by simply clicking the reverse. Handy feature, right? Now suppose if you want to move or scale your multiple tracks together, but to avoid setting up each track separately, you can simply select the tracks, press Ctrl G to group them as a meta strip. Or you can simply select your tracks and then go to Add and then select the meta strips. And then you can move them simultaneously. To ungroup these meta strips, you can simply press Shift Ctrl G, or you can simply go to Add and select Remove as meta strips. Simple. Now if you drag one action above and play the animation, you can see the character just pops right onto the origin point for stretching, right? Which just doesn't look good. So to improve this, you can simply add transition in between two action clips. Simply get two actions on one strip and select them both. Now go to Add and select Add Transitions. And now you can see the character is moving back to the origin for stretching, which definitely looks way better than before. So that's it for the tutorial, guys. I hope you guys really learned something from this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel. It will really help me to grow this channel furthermore. If you have something to say or you want to ask something about this tutorial, feel free to ask in the comment section. I will get to that as quickly as possible. If you have any request or suggestion about any specific tutorial which you want me to create, feel free to leave that in the comment section. I will definitely get to that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Peace out.